Hello everybody and welcome to the Shapr tutorial, how to create a basic wire earring in, Shapr3D. In this demonstration, I will show you how I will make use of a three-dimensional model and also the grid to plan out kind of like a process I would use also as a bench jeweler to create multiples and variations and then step by step start exploring the final design, which I then, because it is a three-dimensional model, I can verify in terms of size and scale and how this could be worn. This file you see with the figure in it will be shared with you, so please go ahead and download it. As always, these videos are filled with a lot of tips and tricks. This one will have a lot of focus on the process of developing ideas via the sketching and then a lot of direct modeling. With all that said, let's get started. Here we are inside the empty scene that's being shared with you. We have a reference model, which will be very useful when we would like to model something like jewelry and earring, because with the reference model, we really can see it in context. First, what we would like is to set up our digital workbench. On the upper right corner, you see the unit system is set to millimeters. That's the best unit system right now to use because we will work with very thin, small objects. Lower right corner have all the snapping options turned on. Now, since we only will create an earring that is actually quite small in relationship to the figure and the scene, it really makes sense to move the figure to the left, and then we zoom in a little bit. And while I'm zooming in, for those who are not familiar with it, and zoom out, pay attention to how the grid updates. I actually treat the grid here like a canvas along which I put down ideas and variations. And then I can use all these spacers, for example, as a neat, easy way to position various steps of my design. Particularly in jewelry design, when you are interested in also making multiples, you really want to figure out kind of like a production line. And that's kind of like what we're going to do here. So let's zoom in here. So we would like to create a ring that sits somewhere in there. So I can measure actually that distance, 85 millimeters. Okay. Maybe I will shorten this a tick, 80 millimeters. Oh, that's okay. That's good. So you see this 3D model is really useful to already get an idea of scale. The ring we are going to create is made out of prefabricated round stock, which we can then bend into the shape we want. The thickness we will use is 0.5 radius or 1 millimeter diameter. That's visually enough, but it's also strength-wise enough. But weight-wise, it's nice and light because you don't want to have a big jewelry piece that's very heavy. So let's go ahead. Actually, we stay in the front view and then again, using the grid somewhere, I can figure out for making a nice ring, I need a circular profile and a revolve axis. Here's my revolve axis. And I used actually this midpoint of the vertical line to know where is from here downwards 40 millimeters. That's there, this position. Okay, so that means when I go up, here's my start point. I can go to circle and then on the grid, I just look left. This is now where I can draw my ring. So I said this should be a diameter of 1 millimeter. So the radius then is half of that. Nice. Okay. So now I can select this circle, select this revolve axis, and then on the left side, we do a revolve. Beautiful. So now I can rotate around and see actually my ring in context. Let's go to here, turn the visibility off. Okay, now we do a very quick study, multiplication. makes sense really to do this also in kind of really significant steps. So what's this is 25. So we will have a 5 centimeter kind of like diameter inside. So here I make another ring. Okay. Now I can see this. And how does this compare to this ring? Yeah, that's actually not too bad too. Well, this is nice and small. This is bigger. This is actually maybe visually more significant. So let's focus on that. I like actually this, the proportion. It is nicely fitting into the space between the earlobe and the shoulder line. So this is 80 millimeters. So what I will do now is, for example, I could select this ring, turn on the copy and move this over. Then I turn copy off, go into 3D view and rotate it. So now I can see this ring from the front and I have actually material thickness. So what I would like now to do is I am thinking about how is this ring then now being connected to the ear. Maybe via a hook. The hook could be a simple piece of wire or maybe an ear plug. The ear plug could also be a nice, interesting jewelry piece that goes into the earlobe when you have like a bigger hole inside your earlobe. That's actually then can also turn because you have a bigger opening, you have more space to put something right through the earlobe. So there's a certain level of creativity. Then also how you could wear jewelry. So with this ring positioned now from the left side, check this out. I'm going to draw myself a nice horizontal line. This is kind of like plus minus where maybe I will have the plug that actually goes into the earlobe. Good. So when I now zoom in, you see I rotated and then moved and rotated the ring right onto this grid, so it's perfectly centered on here. So when I draw myself here a small line from there up, what's the length? So 10 millimeters. Okay. So if I draw a line horizontally, see I'm kind of like blocking out, kind of like a basket there. These lines were visual helpers. I removed them. Okay. If I zoom out now, I can compare this to the ring. Is this too big, too small? Maybe this is a tick too wide. And also I don't want to have a horizontal. I mean, I could have a horizontal connection. I would like, however, something that is more round. Because otherwise, as you will later understand, this horizontal piece will be something that will dangle too much. And the ring will slide on it. So this I will remove. But on top, with an arc motion, with the pencil, I put onto an arc. And then this I can move down. Now again, from the side, I will draw myself a line as a reference. So this is 11. So this whole thing goes down maybe 1 more millimeter. This is 10. There. You see how I'm using the grid and reference lines to measure everything out. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. The radius is 5. What about we make this 3? You see how this now moved all to the left side. Now, Shapr offers a sketch solver. That means the sketch engine will try, when we adjust elements, to guess how I want things to adjust. The software was not able to understand that I want this point not to move. So I lock this point. When I now say 3, you see this adjusts correctly. To prevent any further accidents, these lines, for example, will be horizontal vertical. So now they can't go up and down anymore, just left and right. And you see when I move this to the right, how everything gets corrupted. So I will set a tangency constraint between the lines and the arc. And look at that, how beautifully that now grows. So that means when I adjust this to 3, everything is perfect. Okay, very nice. Yeah. Now it's time actually to sketch in the a new ring. So here I have this line, and then you see here, I know the grid, there I have a line. Okay, so this is now my drafted center point. And that center point, I could draw a circle right from there. And let me show you something else also with the grid system. So here is the circle. So I go to here and start drawing a circle. And then I move this over. You see how this lines up the circle to there? We can see that. And then now I can see, perfect. This is horizontally and vertically centered. Also here at this point, I don't want to adjust and move. So I lock it. This should be 40. So it shouldn't change. Beautiful. Now the ring we created, which body is it? Here. Let's remove this because I would like to open this now. But before I open this, these points here need to go down, and then I can use the trim command and cut all this off. Perfect. Very good. What's missing now is another circle. So front view. Again, the grid system is perfect. I know that this is actually my center. There you see, it's lined up. And for demonstration purpose, I keep this ring a little bit bigger. And now I move this ring down till it snaps onto the grid and also here the circle. Then in 3D view, I can select the circle, leave the sketch mode, and simply rotate it 90 degrees. There. Now I created a circle and that sits perfectly on this arc. And this is what I need for a sweep command. The radius, we switch back to 0.5 millimeters and then select the ring profile. And I select all these elements. And let's do a sweep. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Now actually the really interesting part of designing jewelry happens. We have now a first scale model, now we have a first design model, and we can start playing and thinking, what all can we do? I will hide this object, then I will double tap this and I will see, can we actually do this too? Yeah, so we can select sketch elements of 2 different sketches. Go to front view, turn this on, and make a copy and move this over. There. So I made a copy. One thing I need to say, when you make a copy, you see all the constraints are actually gone. So be careful there about this. I will actually keep this arc in the left, but here I will remove this and go back with horizontal line. This I will lock. This I will set to 40 for the radius. Very good. What is the distance here? 6. So I will horizontal, vertical. Yeah, I will keep all this. Very nice. And now I would like this to be at the same height. Again, this is where the grid and moving pieces left and right as copies is really useful. You saw how I transferred over actually the height measurement. There, now both sketches have exactly the same height. And I can go back and I'll say you to you and you and you and you. Show me how does this look as a swept model. Oh, it's actually not too bad too. But the problem now is when this is inside the ring, how will actually Will the earlobe be at the center or go to the front or the back? No. This could, for example, be mitigated by not having as wide of a distance, 4 millimeters right now. So I could, for example, delete everything, and then these lines I move a little bit closer so that this, instead of 6, would be maybe 4 millimeters. Okay. Now, looking at this is actually not too bad. No, however, here I would like to see how does this look when I round these edges. Okay, so I will hide all this again. Then double tap, zoom in and select this. There we are. Make a copy, move this over, go to the front view again. Bring this over there. Very good. Okay, and as I said, we need to constrain everything again because we made a copy. So lock and 40, U, tangent, tangent, lock, U and U, be not perpendicular, be vertical, horizontal. So how do we now create arcs in there? That's actually really easy. We draw arcs, and with arcs actually I meant fillets. Very good. There. Now U and U, tangent, U and U, tangent. And because I reapplied all the tangency and dimensions and vertical horizontal constraints before, the rest of my sketch does not update in ways I don't want to. Actually, here it does now a little bit. So one thing I did not do, let's see. Yeah, this radius here I did not specify, 2.5. Good. So you see now, only this changes. I can set this to 2. I can even select both and say equal, and then when this is updated, the other one is updated automatically. So it saves a little bit of time, and then trim all this off. Beautiful. Now I can go ahead and play even more. There you saw something happen. That's because they are not tangent. And here this point has to lock onto it. And this got changed. And there. And a tangency and horizontal, vertical. Okay. And then this is equal. Yeah, tangency. And tangency. Again, because this is a sketch solver that tries to solve basically what I want when I modify it. You see now it doesn't do it anymore. So I need to give it rules and a structure. And I created a structure, and now I can explore everything the way I want. Okay, very nice. So now I can do another idea of how does this look. Zack, 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 and zack, and sweep. And let's compare then this with our other models, which is now more interesting. The one where it's rounded, where everything is linear, where this is actually rounded in a mix. And my main interest here is to create a ring that can go through an ear loop and doesn't slide but sits perfectly. So I will do actually now the following. I will settle on this idea. However, this is not tall enough. I can select that arc and move it up a little bit afterwards. So you see, we are not limited to what we sketched. I cannot, however, select this and move this to somewhere else because this would distort this and this. But here, when I move this one up and down, all the software, so Shapr needs to figure out how can we scale this one vertically. So you see that's a geometrically a very simple task to do. Okay, so we have all these sketches on the left side and that geometry. So maybe it's time to select few of these pieces we have and start sorting it into this folder. And when I hide it, it's gone. So I can show my pieces and hide them. Okay. Maybe a little bit of cleanup if you want. So all this we don't need anymore. Good. So when I select now this ring and make a copy and move it over, oh, look at that. Now I can see, how would this go? So something like this, it can dangle a little bit, maybe a little bit there, a little bit higher. Okay, good. Yeah, it doesn't look actually too bad. So we will now create something that can go into the ear lobe, kind of like as a stabilizer for this ring to sit in. So this ring we have here, I will select and delete for the moment. And then I go back to here. So here's my center, and I would like to create a revolve object. Bring this down, that is 5 millimeters. It's actually interesting to measure body parts, so how thick is something. So let's go with 5 millimeters. And here I draw a very simple C, like this. Okay. And then I can take this and revolve there. Okay. So this I will bring down and then I will rotate it 90 degrees. One more time. Go to a front view and turn on lower right corner section view. And then, ooh, we see a little problem. First, the thing is too wide. And also, there's literally no space really for the ring to go through the channel because it has an arc on top. So this piece proportionally does not work. So what we need to change is turning off the section view. I select both lines here and make this wider. Now this is 2 millimeters. We will have later a 4 millimeter opening. And then this I move up a little bit. And I move this down a little bit. Okay. So what's the length? 2.3. We can now do actually a little bit of grid counting, but you see this is getting a little bit tedious. So what can we do here to make the adjustments easier? Let me show you something, a really nice trick. I draw a line to this midpoint, and then here, this line I make vertical, actually all I make vertical or horizontal. Very good. And this line I will lock. Because this line is locked and glued to this midpoint, when I move this one down, you see the other one will go with it. U and U, these two lines, I can set to be equal. And this be 1 millimeter. You see that? And now I can select this and say 3 millimeters, 2.5 millimeters. Okay. Very good. Yeah, that's perfect. What is this distance? This is 2, and also here we make this vertical horizontal. So now I select this and this, revolve, there we are. And we can bring this down, rotate the view so this rotation arrow is easier to see. Front view. Yeah, this is better already. Okay. Now, this whole construction I have with both together, I can select, make a copy, move this over, and then I try to position this onto this digital mannequin, plus minus. And this one here, properly, I can rotate a little bit because it wouldn't really sit like an engine part in it. It will bend a little bit. And yeah, there you see. So this opening seems to work. Okay, so maybe we can make this even a little bit um, bigger or adjust the style more. But I think at this point now you start understanding the process behind it. I will go back to here and just select everything and just move this a little bit further up out of the way. And then here, this I will lock. Now I have this line. You might ask yourself, why did I create this? With this line, I can hold 1 second. There. Adjust actually the radius. So this way I have a controlled means to figure out where is the center for the revolve object. And now you can play with how far is this and this apart. Do we need it wider? Do I like this to be taller? We haven't really solved one problem. How do we get this ring actually through there? Again, this is now a creative possibility or thought to have. We can make a small opening there. It doesn't have to be a complete ring. We can open it a little bit. It could be just a simple saw line we cut through there. We could remove more material. We could even turn this circle more into a spiral or something. So I will, since I like actually the shape, create myself down here a small rectangle. Again, nicely on the grid. This way I know everything I create is symmetrical. And then this I extrude back and front. Push this up. There we are. And then I will say from this. So double tap, remove the cube. Question now is keep originals. You can turn this off if you are okay with removing it. This is such a simple geometry. If this design doesn't work out, I can always go back and re-sweep it. But this is actually really nice. And then here, this rounding and this rounding. Let's fill it so it's nice and soft. It doesn't pinch. Okay. Yeah, this actually does not look too bad. So I can try to figure out maybe very quickly here. This I will select and delete. I will select this, make a copy, move this over, and then maybe from the top view, I can try to position this a little bit. Yeah, this looks believable. Hide this. And hide this. Okay, very good. So I will create myself a new folder. And there we are. And then select this one, this one, this one. Actually, these two only. I put those in there. And call this maybe master. Hide this. This is the sketch. I put this in here. I can call this exploration if I want to. Okay. This folder I can move down. You can restructure your design, and this I can move up to there. And for example, here, this one we call a ring. And then we can call this one plug. There we are. And yeah, now we have one piece. We can select both. I would like to make a mirrored copy. Go to a side view now. Again, because this figure is centered in my design, all I need to do is now go to a side view, mirror, tap on the grid, keep originals, done. and I made myself a copy on the other side. Very good. Yeah, and this is basically one very simple way and process how then just out of a circle, which is a basic geometrical design, we can start creating a variation of very interesting jewelry pieces by just being very playful and just playing with variations. What happens when I do this? What happens when I do that? And then use the grid and the environment kind of like as your digital workbench. And that's it.